This is a glass of water. In a few minutes, I'm going to compare it to your brain. Keep watching. Productivity is the it word of our generation. There are hundreds of thousands of articles on the internet about being productive. It's even spawned a whole new genre called productivity porn. It's stopped being a method of doing something and has instead become the thing that's being done. Look, I'm not here to diss productivity. In fact, I love being productive. If I manage to get 4 hours of uninterrupted productive time before 10 am, my day's made. I'm that guy. But I do want to diss the way we think about productivity. Let's say I have to get to 20 emails today. Productivity, the way most people think of it, is cranking out replies to all 20 within the workday. In other words, we often think of productivity as doing things efficiently in a limited span of time. But that doesn't work for me because it doesn't say anything about what we're doing. What if we could think of productivity as a vehicle for learning and growth instead of just getting things done? Productivity is still the way we go about our everyday tasks, but a few weeks or months of being productive should lead to learning, which accumulates over a year to create personal growth. My first stint with productivity was back in 2013 when I was a PhD student studying brain science and cognition. I had an important research talk that I needed to prepare for, but I was struggling to do what many of us often have to do: absorb a vast amount of material in a short span of time and explain it in a really simple manner. It was a pain because I was so utterly disorganized. I didn't know how to manage my time, the best way to read books or technical papers, how to make effective notes, or how to retain the information. Upon hearing my troubles, one of my friends suggested a technique that's pretty well known now, but was revelatory to me at the time.
It's simple. Start a 25-minute timer, focus on one thing at a time, take a 5-minute break at the end. Start a 25-minute timer, focus on one thing at a time, take a 5-minute break at the end. Start a 25-minute timer, focus on one thing at a time, take a 5-minute break at the end.
Apparently, I had never focused on something for 25 minutes straight before. Times we live in, huh? What was worse was the 5-minute break. Staying focused during the next 25-minute session without getting distracted was nearly impossible. But I didn't have a better idea, so I kept at it. A few months later, I'd managed to read a fat stack of research papers. I probably wouldn't have been able to get through them otherwise. I was able to comprehend hidden nuances in the material far better than I had previously. My research project benefited from my improved focus. I felt accomplished and satisfied with how productive I had become. But once I'd completed the goal of preparing for my research talk, I forgot all about the Pomodoro system and returned to my old haphazard ways. It didn't strike me to employ something so radical permanently. As I had said earlier, I thought of productivity as just doing things efficiently in a limited span of time to achieve the goal of preparing for my talk. What I missed at that time was that this method offered me a path to continuous learning and growth, the idea that you can always expand your knowledge to gain new skills and expertise. I couldn't fathom this because I thought of myself as a person of fixed ways and that nothing about me could be changed or improved. It's not just me. I suspect that most people make this assumption that we have fixed capacities and they can't be altered once they set. Something like thinking I'll never be a great people manager in the future because I'm not great at it now. Noted psychology researcher Carol Dweck called this a fixed mindset. The theory behind this assumption comes from a notion that once held prominence in neuroscience and cognition, that our abilities develop and structure during a critical period in early childhood and remain fixed from then on. And it is true for basic functions like vision. Keep your eyes shut for the first few years of your life and the brain regions for sight never develop. A fixed mindset invites a comparison of our brain to a glass of water. The capacity of the brain is fixed, and once it's full, it doesn't matter how much more effort you put in, it just can't hold any more. But if we extend this thinking to concepts like reason, planning, and learning, it suggests that there's no scope to grow or get better. And that's just depressing. Thankfully, a new view has taken hold that indicates that through continuous learning and growth, we can alter abilities that were once considered fixed. In this view, we're always becoming, a continuous work in progress, never a finished product. This is the growth mindset. In this case, my brain is like the ocean, which cannot overflow because its capacity, like my potential, is limitless. In the growth mindset view, you can get better if you choose to, but you have to first believe that it's possible. The fixed mindset encourages you to think of productivity as a means to achieving a single short-term goal. For example, if you're in sales, a fixed mindset view of productivity might mean closing, say, 20 deals a month. But this blinkered focus allows you a certain leeway to not actually investing any effort into learning new things. Make projections. Numbers aren't really my thing. However, if you have the growth mindset, you would think of productivity as a means to becoming a more talented salesperson over time. So, what's a productive day for a salesperson? To me, it's the day they apply these productivity techniques that help them learn new skills that help them get better at closing deals. With a growth mindset, we can understand that getting better or smarter or fitter is a process rather than the end goal. It's about the journey, not just the destination. The Pomodoro technique isn't something that you do once in a while for a few days, but something that will bear fruit if you practice it in the long run. Productivity isn't an end in itself, but it's the most granular step on the path to learning and growth. Of course, this may be easy or difficult for you depending on your circumstances, but the idea is to use all available productivity tools at your disposal to continue growing and stop stagnating. I felt a surge of relief and hope ever since I started thinking with a growth mindset. I can't imagine going through my life thinking that only the first few years of existence mattered and I'd never get better. I'm sure you feel the same way. Hey, you're probably wondering who the hell I am. I'm Navneethan Santanam. I'm a machine learning engineer at Freshworks and an instructor at Freshworks Academy. I'm quite fortunate that for both of these roles, I need to learn new things, produce new output, and learn from my mistakes. That's a perfect fit for the growth mindset. Did what I say resonate with you? Do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Let me know in the comments section. And as always, don't forget to share this with your friends and click the like button. I'm going to be talking a lot more about productivity and continuous learning, so make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also enroll in Freshworks Academy and access educational content in customer support, sales, ITSM, and more. See you in the next video, and until then, bye-bye and keep growing.